feeling cold against your skin. Running through the chaos, letting all the sin. Temptation in a bottle, ready for the night. Craving for the thrill, it's time to ignite. Dark desires burning bright. Echoes in the dead of night. No retreat, no looking back on this heart attack.
Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? We're back again. It is nice to be on at a normal time, like for once in the last, I don't know, 4 months or so. I feel like it's been a long time since we've been on it, like this time in the afternoon. It's been a while. Good to see you all. Good to see you. So tonight, what are we going to do? We're going to run through some of the final evidence out of this trace of documents that I have from the Erin Patterson trial. Still have quite a number of things here that we haven't looked at yet. And I'll take any questions about the trial. And I still have all my notes. I have trial documents. We have evidence. So I thought if we just did one final thing and ran through a lot of the stuff we haven't been able to get to in the last couple of weeks, it might make a good show for today, because so people might be asking, we were talking about going to a trial the other day. That is true. We were, after speaking to the Supreme Court and looking at some of the things surrounding that trial. Yeah. Hey guys. Hey, good to see you. After looking at some of the things surrounding that particular trial, the one we were going to look at, the Patterson trial, it's no, it's not worth it. There's a lot of complexities surrounding that particular trial, things that I can't go into. Just saying that I looked at some of the some of the legal documents and things like that, and like the Supreme Court were like, well, if you're going to do this, you have to read this and check this out and make sure you understand what this is. And I read them, and then after I read them, I was like, no, I don't think we can do it. It would open us up to, like, Erin Patterson's trial was very tricky to cover with the contempt of court. This one is like that on steroids. Like, it would be extremely hard to cover it. Extremely hard for the way we do things on this channel. I could get in trouble just by you guys asking a very simple question, which I know would come up based on some of the known facts of what's out there already. You guys would just automatically ask that question and we get shut down. Like, it's just, there's a lot of weird stuff going on with this one, and it's not the right one for us. Yeah, we'll find a different trial. It's just not the right trial for us, unfortunately. But we'll see what happens with that one later on. I'll give you an update when I can, but we will not be covering it from the Supreme Court. It's just not the right thing for this channel. Woman of Steel said, feeling better. I'm feeling okay. I'm still a little sick here and there. Can't quite shake the flu 100%. It's like it's sort of dragging on a little bit, but at least I can talk again. Will mushroom pizza be served tonight? I don't think so, but I do have a pizza in the fridge that does have mushrooms on it. But it is not a mushroom pizza by any stretch of the imagination. Hey, good to see you all. Good to see you all. Yeah, it's too much hassle. It's not a. I mean, the trial itself, from the outside, seems very compelling, but after looking at some of the more legal issues surrounding the trial, it's just no. Just that's all I can say. No. Let's see. You sound well? I sound better? Okay, good. I'm glad I sound better. Hope the audio is going to be good tonight. Someone left a message on the live chat last night saying the latency has been getting worse in our live streams, but I actually think it's been getting better. I think our live, I reviewed the one we did the other day and it looked pretty good. So I hope we continue with that. Wendy asked, when you cook up poison mushrooms, do you have to throw out all the utensils and pans used or does it wash off? I don't think that's something we were told about at trial. I don't think they went into anything like what would happen if you had like a frying pan and you cooked with it. I don't know if the poison degrades under. I think they did tell us that this particular poison, the Amanita phalloides amatoxin, it doesn't degrade under heat. So I don't know what you would do if it got all over like your frying pan or plates and cutlery or something. I don't know. But they said it doesn't degrade under heat like some other toxins. Some other toxins with mushrooms can degrade when you cook it, but not this one. So I don't know. It's not something they told us about. It's not something they went into any explanation for us. Hey, good to see you. Hey, Marilyn Landis. Hey, Marjorie. Good to have you. Marilyn Landis is here. Kathy Lynch is here. Laura T. Nana Lana made it. Maria's here. John is here. Lynn D. Jojo is here. Woman of Steel. Who else do we have? My friend DJ is here. Wendy R. Video Reel made it. We've got everyone here tonight. Everyone's here. I do have something coming up that you all might be interested in. We're going to take another look at the Stephen Stearns sort of process that's going on right now. Can't say too much right at the second. All I can tell you is that sometime in the future, I should have some new information on Stephen Stearns. So keep an eye out for that. When I have it, I'll let you know. But we should be doing an exclusive on this channel for Stephen Stearns at some point in the next period of time. I don't have a sort of day right now, but soon. Hey, good to see you. Shad, is everyone wish Shad a happy birthday? You should. You should wish Shad a happy birthday. John said, I didn't know there was a protest. Thanks, Ping. A protest? I don't know if there's a protest. Yeah, we'll do more on Stefan later on. All right. So I want to show you a couple of bits of evidence that we weren't able to get to. Now, one of the things I have shown is the forensic testing of the samples, right? But one of the things I didn't get to show you was the results of that testing, the lab testing for the Amanita phalloides. So I will show you that if we can get it to get on the screen. So here we go. So you can see here highlighted the samples, a couple of them, the ones in yellow here, were actually detected to have that Amanita phalloides mushroom in it. So if I can pull up this other bit of evidence, should be samples taken. There's just so many files. But yeah, I have shown them before. It must be this one. Yes, it is. This is Dr. Lovelock. So this is from Dr. Lovelock's evidence. So hopefully we don't get that audio glitching. But it was from these samples of so that there you go. This was one of them anyway. There's the beef Wellington. And then I showed you some other forensic samples where they broke them down into those little vials and then they did the testing of it. Well, this is the results of it right here. So that's what you're seeing here. And you can see in some of the samples, Amanita phalloides was not detected. This is a different mushroom, Bisporus. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I'm pretty sure that is if I'm remembering correctly, that's just field mushroom or yeah, it's just normal mushroom. So the other one is like, button mushroom. There you go. So that Bisporus one is just your normal mushroom that you buy from the store. So you can see here in the samples that they took, they did find some normal button mushrooms, and then they were testing for Amanita phalloides, and 2 of the samples did come back positive for Amanita in their samples. There you go. And then here, another match here. Amanita phalloides was detected. Amanita phalloides was detected, sample D, and then sample G. And they're saying their Amanita phalloides was detected. And they're saying the other one, that button mushroom was also detected. So they found a mixture of the button mushroom and then the Amanita phalloides. So there is your forensic results from the lab testing. And here we go. Some more results here. Yeah, summary of results for items tested for the presence of A. phalloides using different molecular approaches. And they're saying here a bunch of the tests did not come out as any positive. And it says in sample 8, item 8, detected positive. Sample 11, also positive for A. phalloides. So this is some of that evidence that was showing you that they really did find these death cap mushrooms in their forensic testing. And this was the evidence presented at trial that, you know, inside of that inside of these samples, one, the beef Wellington, the other samples were from the dehydrator. So they found the poisonous mushroom. So there we go. There we go. So this was exhibit 27, 28. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. That was that beef Wellington. There you go. You can see the beef Wellington sample. You can see bits of it right there. I could probably make it a bit bigger. There we go. So portions of what remained of the beef Wellington that was eaten at that lunch. A couple of days ago, I was going to post about it, then I forgot. But it was actually the 2-year anniversary from the date of when all of this happened. So on a couple of days ago, on the 29th of July, 2025, it was 2 years since that fateful lunch took place. And it's very fitting that we're sort of here now. We've had a verdict and we're sort of in that post-trial phase, waiting for sentencing at this point in time. So, by the way, someone asked, is it normal for it to take this long for sentencing? Yeah, it's pretty normal. It's not abnormal at all. This is pretty common. It's not something I'm concerned about or, you know, think it's abnormal. It happens all the time. Marylander said, is it normal to take a long time for sentencing, like months? Yeah, it's pretty normal. It happens all the time. It's not something we have to be worried about, or this is like an abnormal occurrence. This happens quite frequently in Australian court cases. So, hey, Joe, what's up, brother? Hey, good to see you. Good to see you, man. Hey, we should link up and do some more content together over the coming weeks. That'd be good. Wendy R said, It's good some animal did not get into the garbage to eat the leftover meat she threw out." I don't know how that works. The only thing they told us at the trial animals can whether animals are susceptible to death cap mushroom like humans are. I know with some poisons, it doesn't affect animals like it does humans. Hold on. Can it poison animals? Oh, yeah. Death cap mushrooms are highly poisonous to animals, including pets, and can be fatal. They are particularly dangerous to dogs who may ingest them due to their smell or curiosity. So there you go. They are also dangerous to animals. There's some venoms and poisons which are not. So funnel web, in Australia we have funnel web spider. They only really affect humans or primates. So if you're bitten by a funnel web and you're a human, it's a bad thing, really bad thing. You need anti-venom, you need to get a lot of help. But if they bit like a dog, it doesn't affect them the same way it does to a human. So I was like, oh, maybe it's like that with the mushrooms, but apparently not. Apparently the death cap mushrooms are also poisonous to dogs and animals. Woman of Steel said, "What day is sentencing? We don't know yet. I don't have an update. I spoke to the Supreme Court a couple of days ago, and if there was an update in sentencing, we would have got a email saying it's going to be here at this time in this courtroom. You can show up at like from 9:30 or something, but um I haven't got any new details. There's one piece of evidence we're waiting on too, and I haven't got an update, but I should reach out to the Supreme Court and ask what's going on. There is one piece of evidence which we were not given, and that is Erin's police interview. I've got the transcript for it, but I don't have the actual video that we saw in court. And I'm waiting on further instruction on what's going on, whether we're ever going to get it or not. I was told after the verdict that we weren't getting it, and that we would find out later what was required to obtain a copy. But I haven't had any further direction from the Supreme Court about what I have to do or what I have to apply for and anything like that as of yet. We will. So I'll reach out to them when I hear from them and I've got a conversation going with them. I'll ask them and I'll say, hey, what's going on with that um, bit of evidence from the trial, and I'll see what's going on. But right now, no update on the Erin Patterson police interview evidence as of yet. Lightning tried to slow you down. Da, da, da. Marjorie said the woman on iNaturalist got rid of them so pets wouldn't eat them. That's true. Actually, she did say that. Sorry. You're right. That lady did say that. Well, I think it was anyone. I think she said that she just wanted to get rid of them for safety of everyone, like little children, because at the time, when she was walking around that park, she had her grandson with her and a dog. And I think she was concerned about other families and, yeah, other pets as well. So, yeah, she did say that in her evidence. Let's see. I don't know if we can. I don't know if we can do guinea pig content. Marilyn said, "Did you sense people thought she was guilty when in trial did it happen?" Um, I think at the start of the trial there was a like an overwhelming sense that from like a bunch of people, not just one person, that this was going to be a very open and shut case. Uh, about halfway through the trial, I think some people were a little not worried that she wasn't guilty, but that there wasn't going to be a guilty verdict. If that makes sense to you, like there wasn't enough evidence. But then later on in the trial, everything sort of flipped, and it seemed like the prosecution had done a really good job, and they had sort of sewn it all up near the end, and sort of pushed it in their favor by the end of the trial. But about halfway through, everyone was sort of like, "Oh, I don't know if we're going to get a guilty verdict here." It was a little up and down. Hey Anna, how are you going? Are you going to the Matt Wright court case in the Northern Territory? Is he the pilot for the helicopter? Sounds interesting. No, I'm not. I hold on, guys. Hi guys, give me 2 minutes. Sorry guys, we just have the nurses that come out every day. This is the last day that they're coming out for her, so we're sort of had to run around and do a couple of things. So, had to just they just called, so I had to like run around and fix a couple of things, but it seems like it'll be all right. We can continue. Hey, morning. It's good to see you. Hey, happy to have you guys. Mrs. Ping cancelled delivery. It's the nurses for Mrs. Ping. Takes a bite of mushrooms. I don't think I'm taking any bites of mushrooms. Not ones from Erin Patterson anyway. Anna said, "Why would anyone buy Erin Patterson's house? I know it's modern, but the history is awful." That's an interesting question. Would you knock it down with the history that it has? So if they had to sell that property because it's now, under that order from the court, what would you do with it if it ended up having to be sold at auction to cover her, you know, uh, court orders or any type of civil action? What would you do with it? I feel like it's like any other type of house where a heinous crime has taken place. You'd have to knock it down. I just don't understand why you would want to keep the home where someone served a meal that killed 3 people and almost killed a 4th person. And yeah, I agree, it'd be interesting. I don't know what would happen with it. Would you live in it? Would people out there in the comments, would you live in that home? Erin Patterson's home, if it went up for sale, would you live in that home? Joe Neal said, when they hear the garbage disposal, they know I'm prepping veggies for them. They are lucky guinea pigs. Kathy said, will any of the money go to her children? I suspect that anything left over from any obligations that Erin Patterson would have, any type of court orders or civil undertakings, would probably go to her next of kin. I'm just not sure how that works at the moment because she's still technically married to Simon, or at least for the moment. Um, I would say it would go to her, the children. I don't know, but I would suspect anything left would probably go to them. Joe said there was a group that was going to buy Chad Daybell's house in Idaho. Yes, I remember this. And they were going to turn it into a true crime Airbnb. What are you going to do there? What are you going to sleep in the same bed where Tammy Daybell was smothered? I think that is a awful, very disrespectful idea to Tammy Daybell. And no, I don't like that. And the children, JJ and Ty Lee, but I don't think that's a great idea. Marlene said, yes, I would. People die in homes every day. Yeah, they do, but not via murder. I mean, people just pass away from old age, heart attack, whatever. That happens. But they're not like, here is the 1% of homes where someone was killed with a poisonous mushroom. I'm taking bids starting at $1 million. No, I don't think that's how that works. Joe Neal said, I tear it down and rebuild using the Idaho floor plan. Okay. Put a memorial? I mean, that would be up to the families, right? That would be up to Simon and the Patterson and Wilkinson family whether they wanted anything like that. So far, they have shunned any publicity or spotlight. They don't want anything to do with any sort of public memorial, I don't think. They just want to be left alone, is the message that I've seen from them. They just want to be, they wanted to do the court case. They wanted to get a verdict, and they just wanted to be left alone. So I don't know if they would do something so public for them. Joe Neal said, Texas Chainsaw House is a B&B now. The one from the movie or the one from Ed Gein? The one from the movie I kind of get. The one from Ed Gein I don't understand. Marjorie said, I'd be more concerned about any leftover Amanita phalloides in the kitchen than weirded out about the poisonous lunch. I don't think there's any mushrooms left in that home. I think they would be, well, I would guess the police would have found them if they were there. And I don't think they are because they raided that property twice. So they would have found it if it was on the property. But we did not see anything like that in the evidence. Yeah, let me move out of this. Let's go here. All right, so I've shown you the forensic testing, which came back as Amanita phalloide. That is good. That is your forensic results. What else do we have? iNaturalist example. Maybe this one? Let me have a look, guys. No. All right, let me see what else I have. 10 images shown to Dr. May. We could do that. Nope. So there's a few things here that were shown to the mycologist, but I'm not sure how interesting you guys might find it, but I mean, I can show it to you. Let me get out of this. So they were showing some of these photos to Dr. Tom May, and they're just random types of mushroom photos, and they were asking him to sort of like identify them and tell the court what they were, which ones are Amanita, which ones are not. But I think he said most of these were examples of Amanita phalloides in different stages. So I think there's a white gills, and then you see sort of that coloring on top of the cap here. You see these, and I think they were saying like, are these Amanita? He was being asked to describe a lot of it. So you can see different versions of it here, of these mushrooms that were shown to Dr. Tom May. Joe Neal said Guy's house was probably torched by hooligans. Maybe. Oh, the one from the movie? Okay. DJ said, I would for sure purchase her home if I like it. My property is next to a cemetery. I always thought it would make a midnight run over there, but after 40 years, I have never done it. One day you will, DJ. One day. Video Reel says, I was just asking, you asked to tear it down, but a memorial would be graceful to honor the people hurt and lives impacted. I don't think it's up to, um, I think it would be up to the family. Musical Neptunian said, I have a mycologist in the family who knows Dr. Tom May. May is an excellent mycologist. I actually think his evidence was some of the most enlightening at the trial, especially regarding the mushrooms. He did a really good job on his evidence and was able to explain clearly. Well, one, this sort of went towards Erin's actual defense, but he was explaining how difficult it is for him to ID mushrooms from people because he works for in conjunction with the Victorian Poisons Information Center, and they get a lot of phone calls from people that go mushrooming and pick wild mushroom, and then they eat them and then they get ill, and he has to try and figure out what these mushrooms are that people ate. And he was saying even for him, a mycologist, it is extremely difficult, and you have to get a very, very good photo of the mushroom to be able to ID it. Let me see if I have the other one from Tom May. Hold on. I should have another one from his evidence. So Dr. Tom May actually did this in court. I think I've shown it before though. This was his presentation on death cap mushrooms to the court, and he was showing like the different ways of how they grow and what kind of like IDing marks that you can look for. Like here, he's saying like, when the death cap mushroom is old, the cup remains at the stem base. That is that there. And there's a collapsed ring around the top bit here. I think if we look here, you can see the partial veil on the edge of the mushroom. So this is the universal veil, and it actually covers like a lot of the mushroom when it's first growing. And here's another one of that ring here on the underside of the mushroom. And yeah, there's part of the universal veil right here. All right. Sorry. Nurses just came and they left. So that's it. Let's see. I think they wanted to call Dr. Tom May because he was directly involved with this particular case and the IDing of what was it? They sent the sample from the hospital to the Royal Botanic Gardens, and it was Dr. Tom May and another mycologist who got the sample originally. And that's why I think they were called to give evidence. That, and because he's a very good mycologist. But I think it's his position within the Royal Botanic Gardens is part of his seniority, is why he was chosen, that and his connection to the actual evidence. So Music on Neptunian said Tom May was the best person to call. Yeah, his connection with VPIC and the actual hard evidence from this particular thing. Him and there was another mycologist at the trial. I don't know if I have any evidence from her. I don't think I do. So there was two mycologists that they both worked together. It was Tom May and another. I'm trying to remember her name. I don't have it on me. Let's go back. I'm just trying to see if I have anything from her. I don't. I only have from Tom May. Yeah, I don't. Not in this pack anyway. Detective Eppingstall. Nope. CCTV. Dr. Veronica. Nope. No, I don't think I have anything. I think I only have from Tom May. Yeah, so unfortunately, the other mycologist didn't give a ton of evidence. She was only there for it was under an hour, I think, on the witness box testifying. She wasn't there for very long, but Dr. Tom May was there for quite a long time. Never heard of a mycologist? Well, now we all know about it after the trial. Let's see. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. We'll have to find out. Let's see. Tables. Okay. Let's move on from Dr. Tom May. I want to take you to some toxicology results that I haven't been able to show until now. So I'll show you some. So I want to be very, very, just fair with the way I show this. And I want to make sure that we only show what we need to know. So this is for Don Patterson. These are his toxicology results from his body. And I'm pretty sure these are these post-mortem or peri-mortem? I think these are peri-mortem. I'd have to double check, but I think these are post-mortem. There was a couple that were peri-mortem, and then there was a couple that were post-mortem. I'd have to double check. It doesn't tell me here. Method of analysis. But here, you can see here. So Don Patterson, in his results, in his urine, AM1, they detected alpha ammonidin detected and beta ammonidin detected. So, but if you look at some of the other results in his blood, serum, and other blood, and then hair, and then a section of the liver, this must be post-mortem. You see not detected, not detected, not detected. But they did detect it in the urine for the alpha and beta ammonidin, but not in some of the other samples here. The other ones are just other medications that he was on in his time in hospital, which I'm not going to go through. I don't need to. I don't think that's needed to show you for anything. I just want to skip past that. Yeah, we don't need to watch that. Yeah, so Gail. And then if you look at Gail's samples, I just want to be very careful with what we show. It says Gail Marie Patterson. So that's Don's wife, Gail. She also unfortunately passed away due to the toxicity of the mushroom. But in her sample, so they don't have a urine test for her. They have a blood serum, a different blood test, and a hair test, and a liver test. And you can see none of her samples came back as Amanita phalloides. And you'll see this mismatch here. This is for Heather Wilkinson, and they do have a urine sample for her here, and alpha and beta ammonidin, but neither came back as detected. So you can see in here blood, serum, and then blood again, urine and hair, and then liver. No detection of Amanita amatoxin. And then if we go down to Ian's one, it did detect it in his serum, but only for beta ammonidin. And then in his urine AM1, they did detect alpha ammonidin. So you can see like the differences between the different people and the like how the test results came up. It depended on timing. Some of these were done really early. Some of these were done very late post-mortem. Some of them were done, peri-mortem, and it depended on the timing of what they actually picked up. And they were saying that it's because the Amanita toxin just flushes from the system like really quickly, and it's very hard to test for. 24 hours it can be gone, and you can no longer find it within traditional testing like this. So you have to catch it very early. Hey, Lynn Jen, how are you? Thank you. Sorry, just as you said, I'm sounding much better. I coughed. Sorry, I didn't mean to cough into the microphone. So Jonna said the blood serum didn't show up. That was scary, and it was low in the urine. Yeah, so you can see the parts per million are like, or the ng per mil. I think it's is that nanograms per mil? I'm not a doctor. I don't know. But you can just see how these tests kind of fluctuate. So this was for Ian. Ian survived, as we know, he testified at the trial. But in his results, yeah, only the beta in the serum, and then in the urine, again, only the beta ammonidin. I wish they had put the perimortem sorry, perimortem postmortem um in here. All right. So this is for Erin Patterson. These are Erin Patterson's toxicology results right here. Nothing. Nothing at all detected. Now, nothing. So she was cleared from toxicology. So when they did the tests on her, they found no evidence of that Amanita toxin within her system. That's why she was cleared and allowed to go home. I think what they were trying to demonstrate with this was, even in Ian's results up here, because he survived, they were able to detect something about the Amanita. So in his serum, they got the beta, and then in his urine, they detected the alpha, and then yeah. But in Erin Patterson's one down here, nothing, nothing at all. Although they said that wasn't directly a conclusion because it can flush from the system so much. But you look at Ian Wilkinson, they could still find it in a couple of his samples, but in Erin's samples, nothing detected for her. So you missed that in the trial. Yeah, it was done around the toxicology results. So they ran through these one afternoon, and they were telling us it's not on these. We're not going that far down. That has the children's test results. They're also negative. I'm not going to show them, but therefore Erin's children. I'm not going to put them up. Let's see. Yes, I believe that is the case, that Erin Patterson gave herself a laxative before she went to hospital. That's why her results, like when she went to hospital, she was sort of, you know, showing some symptoms like this, and then she stabilized like very quickly. So she sort of went up and then stabilized all within about 12 hours. And I believe that it was because she had taken some sort of laxative medication to try and mimic the effects of this death cap poisoning. So you wonder where Simon and Erin met? They met at their job working for the council in Melbourne about 25 years ago. So they worked for Monash City Council in Melbourne, and they both worked in different departments but had mutual friends, and they used to sort of hang out and go drinking and things like that. And they sort of met through those connections at work. That's how they met. Wendy asked, said, "Has anyone else been poisoned by this?" I'm almost surprised they figured it out. Oh yeah, poisoning does happen. They did demonstrate at the trial that there was a tourist in Victoria who had picked a mushroom near a oak tree and then actually went into organ failure and presented to a hospital but they survived. They actually survived it, and I think they said they were the only other poisoning event from a death cap mushroom in that 12-month period. It was and they said it's quite common for people who come from overseas to mistake death cap mushroom for mushrooms that grow in their country. So a lot of the people who get poisoned by death cap mushrooms in Australia often tend to be people from Asia or foreign countries who mistake the mushrooms for things that they can eat. So, so there you go. These are the toxicology results. So, wait, a section of liver. Yeah. So yeah. So even when they took a section of the liver, they could not find it in the liver, nor in the hair, nor in the urine. This is for Heather Wilkinson, and then she didn't show anything in any of her results. And then for Gail, she did not show anything either, which is interesting. It seemed to be the boys, the men, who for some reason retained the amatoxin in their results. I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't know if it's body weight, that they were maybe bigger guys, like, body mass wise. I don't know. But yeah, you can see here Donald's one showed up in the urine, and then Ian's one showed up in the in two different results for him. Where's Ian? Ian. So his one showed up in the urine for the alpha toxin, and then in the serum showed up in the beta toxin. So there you go. So there's your forensic results from their testing. Oh, really? Several died. One was saved with a liver transplant. Crazy. Wendy asked if that mushroom is not indigenous to Australia, is it? It got imported over here with oak trees from Europe. So no, they are not native to Australia. So there you go. All right. Give me a sec. I'm going to grab a different piece of evidence. Oh, really? All right. I'll have a look at it after. Okay. So that is the forensic results. Let me see what else I got. Toxicology analysis, 7 anointed photos. Is it this one? Let's have a look. Ah, no, this is the one we were looking for before. These were some of the other forensic samples of, there you go, the beef Wellington. So this is how the samples were broken down. So you can see when they were handed in, and they were separated, tray 1, tray 2, and they say pastry sample, mushroom paste, and then they broke it down into these little vials for testing. A1, AB, 1C, 1D, and they broke it all down, and they did the testing. And then there's the gravy jug that had the gravy in it from the lunch, and they tested these little tiny samples. And that's these were the photos from the forensic testing of the beef Wellington. So there you go. That's the one we were trying to find before, and I couldn't find it. So yeah, so they grow here but they're not native to Australia. So in Melbourne, we have the climate, especially in winter and autumn, that is conducive to mushroom growth down here. So especially in our wet season, there's quite a lot of mushrooms that grow down here, including death cap mushrooms. Not just them, we also get other species, but it's quite a good environment for them in Victoria. So that's why they tend to grow pretty wild down here. All right. Let me see what else I've got. I want to show you as much as I can of stuff we haven't seen. Where is this? Okay, two figures. What's this? Oh, okay. Yes. Hey, Muff, are you serious? Muffin, what are you doing? My cat is here. Here, look. Muff, hi, what are you doing? Hey, come here. What are you doing? What do you want to sit on Dad's lap for? He wants to sit on my lap. Every time I'm doing the show, he wants to sit here. Muff, hey, come here. Look, say hello. Every time I do a show, he wants to sit here on Dad's lap. You want to sit on Dad's lap? You never do this. When I'm not on the live show, you've never sat on my lap in your life. Hi. What are you doing? We've got a show to do. We've got to tell people about the poisonous mushrooms. Why don't you go be with Mum? Hmm? Mum might give you some food. Hey, Mum might give you food. Hey? Alright, fine. We gotta talk mushrooms, Bubba. Alright, I'm gonna have to just do it with a cat on my lap. So apparently Mr. Muffin wants to... Yeah, every time we're on the show, he wants to be in front of the camera. And this cat has never slept on my lap in his life. In his 8 years on Earth, he has never curled up in a ball on my lap, ever. Breaking cat news? Yeah. Hey, you're being a funny boy today. I don't know why. All right, that has to work. So you can do that. All right, so I'm going to take you to another bit of evidence. All right, so this may make you quite angry. This is Erin's sort of, and as we sort of heard after the trial, that Erin had been diagnosed with Munchausen syndrome. That's not what they call it now, but it's got a different name. But that's what the media said. But you sort of see here, and this is what was presented at trial. You see all these different type of things that she was coming in for to her doctor. So her doctor is Dr. Cassie Zhao, and she kept saying coming into this like so. Erin suspects that she has MS. Ticks all check boxes for MS. Weight gain, dizziness, visual disturbance, tremor, tingling, numbness, urinary incontinence, GI upset, anxiety, depression, restless leg syndrome. And this was an example of like all these just, crazy Dr. Googling that she would do. And then go to her doctor and basically badger her doctor into running all these tests for things. Like she would come in and say, yeah, extreme tiredness associated with general swelling for a few months. She said that she doesn't have any other diagnosed cardiac condition / heart failure. And then they said that, they need to look at other things like an echocardiogram. And then she may need a referral for a sleep study. And then they just, there's heaps of them here. I just want to be careful. I just want to make sure there's no children's names mentioned in here. I don't think there shouldn't be, but you never know. Yeah, here's the letter that her doctor sent out. And they said here, thank you for seeing Erin, who is a mother of two beautiful young kids and lives with her husband in Currumbara. Over the past few months, Erin has experienced a series of non-specific symptoms, including extreme fatigue, lethargy, headache, sore and dry eyes, nausea, poor appetite, indigestion, altered bowel habits, overactive bladder with urinary incontinence, irregular period, generalized non-pitting edema, weight gain or weight gait, whatever that is, pins and needles in her hands and feet, and clumsiness in her feet. Other than that, she has general good health in the past and she is not on any medications. I don't know. If you have all these things, I wouldn't exactly say you're in general good health. They said here, she looks very different from what I know of her, as she seems to have put on a lot of weight and looks very swollen in her face, legs, hands, and feet. Other than the generalized swelling, her physical examination is unremarkable. And here, Erin worries about Erin worries about ovarian cancer and has been Googling her symptoms, thinks her symptoms may be suggestive of ovary cancer. So you see this type of sort of hypochondriac that Erin demonstrated at trial and admitted to being during giving her evidence that she would go to these doctors and basically self-diagnose herself into cancer or heart failure or all these different things that she thought that she had from googling symptoms. Yeah, so Jonna said she wanted attention. It definitely seems like a woman who was screaming out for someone to pay attention to her. Yes, very much. Marlene said this is a doctor saying nutcase. Could be a hypochondriac. She definitely admitted to being a hypochondriac. Like you see some of the symptoms here: extreme tiredness associated with general swelling, no other diagnosed cardiac condition. And they said here, needs a further workup CCF due to her tiredness and swelling, needs a referral for echocardiogram, sleep apnea, needs a referral for sleep study. And they said has worsening edema and swelling in feet. They said she has cold-like symptoms, checks all the boxes for MS. Yeah. They Erin is wondering if we should organize a spinal MRI as her brain MRI was normal. And they say we decide to wait till she sees a different doctor for further advice. Yeah. So, yeah. So you see all this doctor Googling and then all these appointments that she made with the doctors, trying to convince them that she had some sort of life altering disease. And now that we know that she's had a full health checkup in jail, so in jail, she's seen a GP and doctors several times. They must keep her in decent health in jail, right? So she's been to the doctors, and as far as we know, they haven't found anything like this. And when in trial, she had to admit in the evidence seat, basically saying that she wasted a lot of doctors' time running them around in circles about things that she really didn't have. They were all sort of made up in her head. And she said that, I understand why medical professionals have training and you're not able to self-diagnose from Google. So she had to admit that in the trial. Music on Neptunian said, I sense a bone dry sense of humor from the referred doctor. Apart from that, she's in good health. That is true. Lynn Jed said, I hate Google or WebMD. The symptoms, they are not always spot on. According to WebMD, I died 3 years ago. Marlene said, I hate going to the doctor, but for checkups, and yeah, I agree. Woman of Steel, yeah. So you can see this is some of the and then we heard about all about these appointments that she lied about. to Gail Patterson, saying that she'd been undergoing these, you know, testing on these lumps on her elbow cancer and things that never happened. The cops actually subpoenaed these health facilities asking for the evidence, like, was Erin ever here? Did she ever have these type of symptoms? Did she ever have these appointments on these days that she was telling Gail that she was at these appointments having these biopsies done and all this type of thing? And they could not find a single appointment on any of those days that Erin ever attended, even though she was telling Gail at the time, "Oh, it's so hard, and I've been dealing with all these health issues, and I've been going to these appointments, and it's all a bit too much." But she never went to any of these appointments. She was lying to Gail Patterson about her health. So she did admit that her own legal team on day one of the trial said that she was a liar. So, how old is he? I think she's 50, right? Erin Patterson's 50? Yeah, Erin, 50 something. 50, 50? Yeah, she's 50. Yep, she's a 50-year-old woman who is now a convicted triple murderer. That's what she is. By law, a jury has found her guilty. She is a convicted triple murderer and a attempted murderer. So that's the title we can give her. Chipmunk said the fact that she lied about cancer, I have zero respect for her. If she is ill in any way, you don't lie about health. You don't have to murder either. That is true. You don't have to. Let's see. Do I have anything else? What's this? Just trying to see. There's some there's some messages here from hello. Yeah, so here I'll show you some messages. Again, this goes against Erin's own advice and messages here. You can see Don Patterson, her father-in-law. Hi, Erin. How's your back feeling? You are in our thoughts and prayers. It's been very wet and windy here today. Hope your weather is more appealing. Love, Gail and Don. And this is after Erin is complaining to them here um, about, they say here again, that doesn't sound good. Hope you can get improved pain relief tomorrow. And they're just very nice people. And here's Erin here. Hello, unfortunately, things kind of went backwards today and I've been struggling. The only pain relief that really seems to help is Nurofen, but I stupidly let myself run out of it yesterday, Arvo, so had to wait till the shops open today to get more, but no pharmacies are open, so I just got some generic Nurofen from the IGA. Hopefully, a pharmacy tomorrow might be able to suggest something stronger or better. I've read that heat is good, so I will try and buy a wheat bag or hot water bottle tomorrow. And she says the kids are not having much of a holiday right now with me and a dodgy back, along with the fact of my other health issues mean I can't walk far and need multiple naps per day. She says her kids are being very good about it, but I do feel guilty. Thanks for the care. Love, Erin. So you see, like that here, Don Patterson, how is your back today? How did the trip go? So, these don't sound like, again, more evidence to the contrary of, Erin testifying that these people were cutting Erin out of their lives and, distancing themselves. Doesn't seem so. These people constantly check up on her, constantly ask how her health is, ask how she's managing, how is the pain, and have you found a solution to it? These are not people who are trying to cut you out of their life. Like they sound very kind. The one thing I got from the entire trial was how kind and loving Don and Gail were. That's the one, like, shining thing that came to me during the trial was how nice they were, even in a marital breakdown between Simon and Erin. They still were really respectful of Erin, and they tried to treat her as their own. They they really did. They tried to treat her like a daughter, and that's the number one thing I took from the trial is just how kind they were to her. Now, I'm sure Erin may dispute that and say that if she's watching from prison, hi Erin, she may say you're only seeing 1% of everything that went on, and that there's 20 billion other things that you weren't shown in trial, which would go towards what she says, and that might be right, but I can only go off the evidence we were given. And the evidence we were given shows that Don and Gail were very, very supportive of Erin, and they seem like lovely people. They really did. Marilanda said she needed psychiatric help. I agree. It sounds like a woman. Yeah, I agree. They did. Joanna said they were really kind under the circumstances. They went beyond. I think it was so that they could keep and maintain a relationship with their grandchildren. I think they wanted to be in their lives with their grandchildren, and the only way that was going to happen was through Erin. And they wanted to keep that relationship going, even in that marital breakdown between Simon and Erin. So I don't think she was diagnosed. I've not seen anything to say that she is diagnosed, except with possibly being Munchausen is the diagnosis I've seen recently. Woman still said maybe she just wanted that from Simon, but it was too late. Maybe. I mean, they were together for 25 years. I don't know. It's a long time. Musical Neptunian said it's like she saw them as an extension of her disease fears and as projected enemies to her body. Could be. Lynn Jen said to me she was using her symptoms to garner sympathy. If she was that ill, maybe her former husband would take care of her. I definitely think she was trying to use medical issues to manipulate people and to garner sympathy. Poor Erin, Erin this, Erin that. Definitely. Yes. Uh, uh, whatever. What is it? Something the Nutter, whatever it was. I did hear it after the trial. Yeah. So they called her Stutter the Nutter or Scudder the Nutter or something. Yeah, her maiden name. Her maiden name. What else is here? Yeah. So there you go. So this is dating back to 2022. So you see Scudder the Nutter. That's it. Couldn't remember what it was. But yeah, they called her that at a previous workplace. Let's see what else have we got on this evidence list. Dr. Sorrell, toxicology reports. I think we did that one. Oh, actually, we have some other toxicology. Hold on. So the leftovers that were found in Erin's bin. So these were those leftovers that you saw handed into the hospital, right? Mushroom paste here. Beta aminidin detected. And then here in a meat sample, beta aminidin detected. So in at least 2 parts of that leftovers from the bin in the toxicology results, you can see here that they found, again, traces of death cap mushroom. So one in the mushroom paste and one in the meat sample. I'm not sure why they found it in the meat sample. I don't think even they were quite sure why it popped up in that particular sample. I think they said because it had been cooked together as a meal, that even when they separated, it's not perfect, and that, it may have been cross-contaminated from the pastry to the mushrooms to the meat. So, but there you go. Mushroom paste detected positive for beta aminidin, and then the meat sample detected positive for beta aminidin. Hey, Rachel, how are you? Good to see you. How did Ian seem physically at the trial? He looked pretty good. He looked pretty good for a guy who was um, on a ventilator and had been intubated and was in a coma on pretty much, you know, he was on death's door a couple of years ago. He looked pretty good. He looked pretty good at trial. I hope he lives a long and very, quiet life and can get away from this trial and enjoy his church and religion, and enjoys his, his flock and his religious stuff. Hope he has a long life leading his church. And he looked good. He looked good at the trial. He really did. I was surprised. Like, he looked like a dude, like of his age. Like, he didn't. You wouldn't know if you didn't know who he was. You'd have no idea that he was poisoned with death cap mushroom a couple of years ago. He looked pretty good. Seemed like a nice guy. Khaliza said, "Thank you so much for the incredible reporting and investigation done during the trial. I appreciate it. It's been a 2-year journey to finally have all this evidence that for so long we had been wondering, what did they have? What was so um like, positive that they could go and just charge her with 3 counts of murder. And now we know. We've seen it, and it's on your screen right here. So they definitely got that. Let's see what else I have here for you. Example process record. What? What is this? Oh, okay. No, we're not going to do that. Location timeline. Just seeing what other kind of evidence we have for you. Okay, we could show you this one. Do you guys want to see some more photos of Erin's home during the search? So this was the second search that took place on the 2nd of November. And this is where they had the technology dogs. This is where they had the technology dogs. So this is Erin's lounge room. Here's that dining table right here. This is that dining table. That looks like Erin Patterson sitting right here in the corner of this photo. That looks like Erin. Here's a laptop. One of the things I'm guessing they took. Another laptop. A computer room. So here's a computer room inside Erin's home, where they seized items from her property. Guys, give me a sec. There's a cat. My cat is slipping off my lap. Hold on. All right. I had to move him because my lap was just getting so hot. Buddy, if you come back, you've got a million places to sleep in this property. He always likes to sleep behind my back, and I don't know why. Jonna says, "Thank you for covering this for us. I found it really intriguing. You are amazing. I don't know how you could type so fast to get all the details you managed." I think the first week was the hardest because I got to be honest, I'm not used to working that hard. And it was like full on every day for like, 5, 6 hours a day. And then I think by the time we got to like week 11, I'd sort of got it down pat and it was much easier than the first couple of weeks. First couple of weeks, I was exhausted like every day. But and near the end, we sort of got down a routine and sort of figured out how to get it done. So being bullied. No, I just don't want him on my lap right now. He normally sleeps on this chair 24/7. Oh, here he is. Hey, you back again? Hey. Apparently he's back again. Hey, come here. There you go. Say hi to everyone. Yes, it's a microphone. All right, Dad has to work. Hey, don't know what's with your attention today. Hey, I don't know why you're giving Dad so much attention. You're just like, Dad's on a live stream. That means I should be up here too. I'm the star of the show. Is that it? You're the star of the show? I think he's the star of the show. Not me. It's him. He's the uh he's the superstar. Isn't that right? It's you, hey? All right, he's back again. He's sitting on my lap again. Thank you for making Dad sweaty. He wants a treat. He gets a lot of treats. They get a lot of food, these two, him and his sister. All right. Kaliza said no one else covered all the details of the trial. Thank you. I think people will use these episodes to research his case in the future. I hope so. I hope so. But we'll be there for sentencing. Should any appeals be won, should any appeals be, a positive result, and we have to go all the way back to trial again, I will do it again for a second time. Whatever it takes to finish off this story, I will do it. Just trying to see what else we have to show you. There's a lot of stuff here that's a bit, monotonous. Let me see what else I've got. Beef, video stills, photo search. I think you guys have seen the majority of this. This was a big bit in the trial. This is when we saw the search of Erin's home for the first time. So this was the first search that was done on the 5th of August, 2023. So this was the first one, and this is where they found the manual for the dehydrator. So this is the manual for the Sunbeam dehydrator, and it directly was at odds with what she said during her police interview. She's like, I don't own a dehydrator. I've never dehydrated anything. I've never gone picking for wild mushrooms. And right in her drawer here is a manual for a dehydrator. So, you know, not sure why she lied because it's right there in her home. Let's see what else we got. There you go. There's that manual here. Maybe I can flip it around. Oh, there we go. Sunbeam Food Master Dehydrator. And, it beggars the question of why she lied in her police interview. It's like if you knew they were going to raid your home and they were going to find the freaking manual for the dehydrator, and then they were going to go to the recycling center and figure out that you dumped the dehydrator. It's not very clever, is it? It's not sophisticated offending. That's what it is. It's not very sophisticated. What else have we got? There you go. There's that dehydrator manual. Oh, there we go. So what does it say? Healthy food dryer. I don't know if that was healthy food. Dehydrated death cap doesn't sound very healthy. There's that manual. And that's where they found the gravy jug. So you can see on this shelf right here, there's the gravy jug, and these are the scales right here that she used to measure out the death cap mushrooms. There's the recipe book with the beef Wellington recipe right there. There you go, recipe 10 eats. What's this one? That's a computer. This is one of the computers that they confiscated during the raid. There you go. There's that Cooler Master computer. So when you often hear us say Cooler Master computer in the evidence, this is the computer that they took that was had some of that iNaturalist data on it. This was the computer that they took during that search warrant of her property. So let's see what else. There we go. Back of the computer, side of the computer, bunch of other things in her home, a mobile phone, a different mobile phone, a tablet. So there's a tablet, one of the tablets that they found. So a lot of electronic devices that they found in the home. So what else? What else is down here? Let me have a look. Okay. So there we go. So yeah, inside of Erin's property. So the first set of photos I showed you before, they're from the 5th of November. 5th of November? They were from the November search warrant. These ones are from the 5th of August search warrant. So only like a few days after the lunch on the 29th of July, 2023. These ones here were only a few days after. So the iNaturalist was hard evidence. It was very compelling evidence. Julie Miller said her home feels cold and sterile with no warmth or feminine things. I mean, they had only lived here for a small period of time. I mean, there's a lot of children's things lying around. Her floor is very dirty, apparently. You can see, I don't know why they took a photo of the floor. They're like, yes, here's a floor. Look how dirty it is. I don't know why they did that. Um, yeah, so yeah, it is. She had a Ring doorbell camera right here. So she had a Ring doorbell. There you go. That food dehydrator manual. She'll never see a phone again, nor a digital device, let alone eat well. Probably not. So I actually heard something this week. Apparently, one of the higher ups at the prison where Erin is housed came out and said that she has never worked and will never work in the kitchen at the jail. So apparently, they're saying that when she is sentenced, she'll never be given a job in the kitchen due to her offending. So you guys, all prisoners can calm down. She will never serve you food in prison, most likely. And they're saying that due to her type of offending, that they wouldn't do that, um, because she poisons people with food. So she can't be trusted in the kitchen. She probably won't wash her hands either. She definitely has some poop hands. Definitely. Let's see. Gordon Ramsay agrees, no kitchen for you. Apparently so. Let's see, recorded police interview. Just let me check through this for a second, guys. Hey, buddy. I just want to check that this doesn't have any children's names in here. A lot of this stuff was supposed to have been edited before we got it, but I found some bits that had not been. All right. Okay. So I can share this with you now. This is the transcript for Erin Patterson's police interview. And this, it says at the top, this is a DVD recorded interview between Detective Leading Senior Constable Stephen Eppingstall, who we heard from at the trial. He was the informant at the trial, and Erin Patterson, conducted at the Wonthaggi police station on Saturday, the 5th of August, after that raid on August 2023. And the other person present was a different detective called Detective Senior Constable Martin Alcade. And yeah, there you go. You can see them asking Erin some questions. They say, "All right, Erin, do you agree the time is now 4:41 p.m. by my watch?" And I'll tell you, we did not have this during the trial. This is a copy of what they call the record of interview. We didn't have this during the trial. I only got this after the trial. So after the verdict. So after the verdict I got this. So you can see here we've run through this. If you search back on the channel, you will see that I actually ran through this once before and ran you through the entire interview that I had you know, the entire thing. So I just wanted to show you that we do have a copy, but we don't have the actual video as of yet. This is the only bit I have at the moment. I don't know when we'll have it. I will inquire with the Supreme Court about what's going on with the about the request for the video of this. The video was shown at the trial, but for some reason we were not given it at the end of the trial. It was not released with the other evidence. I don't know why. Yes, we definitely ran through it, and it should be titled Erin Patterson Police Interview. And it runs through basically this entire thing word for word. Let's see. My phone is buzzing and I don't know why. Hold on. Okay. I know, right? It's already August. How did we get from what was it? How did we get from April to August and we're still talking about Erin Patterson? How did that happen? I want to know how that happened. Ping wants to know how we're still talking about Erin Patterson now. I got to close down some tabs. All right. You don't remember it either? Basically ask her. Let me see if I can find the bit about the dehydrator down here for you. They ask her about her date of birth and all this kind of stuff. Here. When we were at the house earlier, they're talking about the search warrant. We discussed that you hadn't really been kept in the loop, and it had come as news to you that Heather and Gail had both passed away. So this is the point where Erin's told that people have died. So before this, she did not know. So now she does. They told her during this police interview that Heather and Gail have both passed away. And they say, all right, following eating at your house, Donald, Ian, Gail, and Heather all became so ill that they ultimately ended up in the intensive care unit at both the Dandenong Hospital and then moved to the Austin Hospital, all right? Following that, they had a deterioration in their condition and they became so ill that their livers have failed. And they talk here about how Donald underwent a liver transplant last night. They say his condition is still extremely critical as of last report. Donald ended up dying, as we know now. And they say here, Heather and Gail have passed away, all right. In relation to Ian, I don't have a current prognosis in relation to where he's at. As of late yesterday, the diagnosis isn't great for him either. We're trying to understand what has made them so ill. Do you understand? And Erin says, yeah. They say, do you understand why we're asking these questions? Erin says, yeah. They say, conversely, We're trying to understand why you're not that ill. And they say, so do you understand why we're interviewing you today? Erin says, yep, I do. And they say, she says here, but I'm sure you understand that, like, I've never been in this situation before. And she says here, I've been very, very helpful with the health department through the week because I wanted to help that side of things as much as possible because I do want to know what happened. Well, as we know now, Erin Patterson was not helpful to the health department at all. Erin spent about 5 days walking the health department around in circles, not replying to their SMSs, not replying to their phone calls, not giving them the information that they had requested, and instead just giving them random bits of crap that they, didn't want or need. They needed very specific information from Erin, and she just didn't give it to them. So when she has this interview with police and tells them, I've been very, very helpful with the health department through the week because I wanted to help that side of things as much as possible because I do want to know what happened. And she says, so I've given them as much information as they've asked for and offered up all the food and all the information about where that food came from. Well, I've shown you in the SMSs with Sally Ann Atkinson and Erin Patterson, where Erin does the exact opposite of this, where Erin walks Sally Ann Atkinson around in circles for days, doesn't pick up her calls, doesn't reply to her SMSs, doesn't give her the information that she wants. So it takes someone of absolute cunning to try and say this in a police interview, knowing full well that her SMSs and her information from Sally Ann Atkinson is going to be subpoenaed, or a search, is going to be done for that information. Let me see if I have Sally Ann Atkinson's. I should have it. Hold on, Sally. I do have Sally Ann Atkinson's stuff here. So you see her mention this in her police interview, and you see here. So Sally sends her this giant text message here asking about all this stuff from Erin, right? And then this is what Erin replies. Hi, Sally. Sure, I will try get that information all to you as soon as possible. I'm just dealing with trying to manage and look after the kids in hospital here and a bit snowed under trying to manage that. I'll get this info to you as soon as I can, but I've just been in a couple of meetings with people at the hospital when you've been trying to call. So that doesn't sound like very, very, very helpful to me. Sally says, okay, I understand you're with the kids at the moment. I'll try calling you later this afternoon around 5. And Erin doesn't pick up that phone call either. So the next morning, Sally Ann Atkinson sends her this absolutely gigantic text message with about, what is it, about 10 messages? I don't know, about 8 questions. Look at all these questions that Sally wants. All of this. She wants all these different things. Can you please confirm it was definitely one of the other times you cooked with the dried mushrooms when you first opened them? No one else reported symptoms or issues at that time when those were consumed. Please advise what drinks were served. Please confirm what kind of shallots were used in the beef Wellington. Did you possibly use your card to purchase the mushrooms? Can you check your bank statement for when that might have, when that happened? Could there possibly be any other of the leftover food still in the fridge that we could get for testing? Can you look at the maps and think of streets you parked near that they're looking for the shop in Mount Waverley or Clayton where she might have bought these mushrooms? Can you recall the size and type of packaging? Thanks again. And Sally says she will call her later again. Sally follows this up and says, "We also need to know what time of day you bought the ingredients on Friday so we can check the deliveries to the supermarket." This is Erin's reply to those, all this, everything in green, all these things in messages in green, all this, all this. This is Erin's one message reply. "Hi, Sally. I'm not exactly sure what time of day I went a few times last week, and I know I got some of the ingredients on maybe Wednesday or Thursday." That's not the question that Sally asked. Sally asked, "What day on Friday did you buy the ingredients?" Not Wednesday or Thursday. What day on Friday? She says here, "I got some of the ingredients maybe on Wednesday or Thursday. I know I bought some discounted eye fillet steaks one time on one of those 2 days. Then I went back on either Thursday or Friday and bought a couple more, but they weren't discounted, just the normal price." So she's talking about this discounted meat, right? At the supermarket. That's got nothing to do with any of this. Any of these billions of questions that Sally Ann Atkinson wrote in this giant slab of messages. It's got nothing to do with this, what she's talking about. And she brings up in this police interview that she's been very, very helpful with the health department. I didn't see her answer any of these questions. None of these questions that Sally Ann Atkinson really wanted. And then when she asked about the other one question down here about what day were the supermarket getting the deliveries and that, instead of narrowing it down for the lady from the health department, she gives her Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. But again, that's not what Sally asked. Sally asked, "What time of day did you buy the ingredients on Friday?" Not what half of a week did you go to the shops. She asked what time of day. So 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Not it was sometime between Wednesday and Friday. That is not being helpful at all. That is not narrowing things down for the health department. That is being, you know, deliberately obtuse. Like you're just playing games with them. Like, honestly, when I read this during the trial, I was like, she is just playing with them. Like, she's just telling them rubbish. Like, you see more of it down here where Sally Ann is trying to do her best to narrow this down. And Erin just circles random stuff and says, "Yeah, the mushroom bag was about this big." That bag that she circled is like this big. Like it's fairly large. Like when have you ever bought mushrooms in like a bag, dried mushrooms this big from an Asian grocer? It's just bonkers. Like, so not anything I would ever, consider helpful for the health department. They're even showing her like all these stores that they went to. That was Troy. Troy works for the council, and he was the one who went and did the inspections of all the health, all the Asian grocers. And yeah, like she's just not doing anything. And this is the other thing. So we heard in some other evidence that Sally Ann Atkinson had tried to get Erin on the phone, right? To have a phone call instead of these text messages, because Sally Ann was getting frustrated that she wasn't getting the information that she needed to conduct her investigation. It wasn't until the lady from DFFS visited and did a home inspection of Erin at her property that Sally called the lady from DFS and then forced that lady to put Erin on the phone. That's the only way Sally Ann Atkinson could get her on the phone, was to sort of phone a colleague at a different government department while she was with Erin and then force that employee to put Erin on the phone. That's the only way that she could speak to Erin. Yeah, it just your one word. I think video reel is one word, okay? Yeah. So these are the things that stuck out at me to me at the trial. Really did. It just, you know, Musical Neptunian said Atkinson had a legal responsibility to ask because it made right, and that's what she was trying. It's very. I think people have to remember it's very early on in the investigation into why these people died. And yes, at the time, Sally Ann Atkinson gave evidence at the trial that they were really worried that they had a public health emergency on their hand, and they were worried that other families and other people were going to start dropping, you know, dropping like flies and dying and ending up in hospital. And the one woman who could help them unlock to what was going on here gave them the runaround. So the one person who could help them solve this mystery of why these people died was just running her in circles. So yeah, not what I would consider very, very helpful. Dragon, hey Dragon. Anthony Wheatley KC said that Erin's response to his text messages made him believe she was guilty of murder. Um, oh, Anthony Wheatley? I'm not sure who that is. Um, but if he's a KC, then he's got a better legal understanding than I do. Um, I don't know if this is what showed me she was guilty of murder, but it showed me that she had no intention of helping the authorities in trying to narrow down why these people uh, died and were in hospital. It just showed me that she was just, if you're willing to mess around the health department, like if the health department called you, I'm pretty sure you would be absolutely petrified. I would be. If they called me, I'd be like, I'll help you. Just stop calling me. I don't want anything to do with your investigation. Whatever I can do to get my name taken off your investigation and to get away from this, I will do it. But not Erin. Erin's quite happy to run Sally Ann Atkinson in circles and then try and say to the police in her police interview that she had been very, very helpful. Very helpful, Erin? Like not answering Sally's phone calls, huh? Like having to get the woman from DFFS to put you on the phone to Sally because you won't answer her phone calls. Super helpful, Erin. Super helpful. It shows these lies and the manipulation that Erin does. It shows you how manipulative of the situations she really is. They did not. Right. Retired Erin said it just shows how depraved Erin is. She may have saved lives. Could have. If this really was what Erin claimed as these mushrooms that she bought from an Asian grocer, which is a little racist, by the way, by having to say it's an Asian grocer and trying to blame them for your offending, it's a little racist. Um, if she had given the information up freely, then she could have, like retired Erin said, could have saved lives. Instead, she just talked absolute rubbish for, you know, like, at no point does Erin ever answer one of Sally's questions with a proper answer. Like, you look at this giant, this is the first message that Sally ever sent her, and she never answers it. She never answers any of those 8 questions that Sally wanted. Just never does. Yeah, showed me her manipulation. It really did. I don't know where they all are today. It's Friday afternoon. They're probably, I don't know, off doing something. I don't know. Hold on, guys. I need a drink. 1 second. All right. Let me see what else I have in my files of evidence from Erin Patterson. I want to get through as much as we can. I just want to make sure it's actually stuff that's worth, like, there's stuff in here. I'll show you. Like, there's this. This was shown to Christine McKenzie, but like, it's not really anything. It's just listings from iNaturalist of different types of mushrooms. They were just saying, could these be, so these were all done from Christine McKenzie. They were just showing her that she's quite adept at mushroom identification. It goes to her sort of legitimacy in her eyewitness report to the court. Basically, that she'd done a lot of posts about mushrooms on iNaturalist. So she gave evidence that she found death cap mushrooms around that sporting oval, and then she removed some and then made a post about it on iNaturalist. So let me see if I have that one. I think this one only has that one. Yeah, the stubble rosegill. Do we have the other ones? I think I've shown those before. Signal messages. All right. Maybe we can show this. So here's some more in-depth stuff here about the Erin Patterson and the tax return thing. Yeah. So this is Erin, and she says, "I'm sorry, but I can't stop thinking about the comment that Don made on the phone that the financial issues are probably easily solved and that Simon can reverse a single thing in his tax return." So saying that he's single. That is mind-boggling in its implication. If that's really what he said he would do, reversing the single thing is basically telling the government that Simon and I are not separated anymore and that we are still married and living together as a couple and have shared finances, so they consider our income as a whole. The immediate implications of that would be that I can no longer claim family tax benefit, which is around $15,000 a year, which would be which would be my only income. It's a government benefit that was forgone the entire time Simon was working at Land Gips. And even though we didn't share finances either, we were basically lying to the government and telling them we were a family with shared finances so they wouldn't make him pay child support. She says, I would have been entitled to about $30K a year child support from Simon during the 3 years he was at Land Gips. But I didn't claim it because I foolishly trusted him to do the right thing by me and the kids when it came to the crunch, but I was wrong to do so, it seems. Now I have no income from a job because I quit it to care for the kids. And if he reverses a single thing, then I'll not be able to claim family tax benefit and I'll not be entitled to any child support. It seems that cancelling the school fees and refusing to help with our son has been a punishment to me for claiming child support, which is unconscionable. I'm not going to pronounce it right now with the cold. Unconscionable. See, I can't pronounce it. Both parents have a duty to financially support the children they made. Simon is hiding behind the communication from the government that now I have to that she's saying that I have made a child support claim. He doesn't have to pay any bills outside of it. That is an instruction for people who want to be a bare minimum parent because any money or bills paid outside of the official child support. So this is what she was saying to, like, Simon and his parents, bitching about all this stuff in the chat, and it's like, why are you fighting over this small amount of money? This is a woman who lends family members $400,000 to buy a home. $400,000. I don't have $400,000. Do you have I mean, you might. I don't. um I don't have that just to lend to people. I didn't even have it for myself. This is a woman who has this type of money that she can lend it to multiple people. in the family, but is crying about $15,000 a year. And she says, which would be my only income. What about all the repayments of that money from the family that we heard about during the trial? All these loan repayments that you had coming in for all the properties that you lent money for. Would that not be income? Would that not be money you would get monthly from the family? So she's, yeah, she inherited all that money. Yeah. Under contract, probably, maybe. But yeah, these are the type of things that she was bitching about. And then Don says here, sorry, I may have misled you, Erin. I regret possibly making a false representation of Simon's opinions. That's why I immediately withdrew it. I think it's best to try and move on from the Sun front. Sorry, I haven't replied before now, but I only just looked at my phone before going to bed. Hope you can get a reasonable sleep. And then she continues here. Thanks, Don. I understand your position and that you and Gail don't want to be involved in certain aspects of these difficulties as it is uncomfortable and awkward. That's unfortunate, but it's just a fact in situations like this. I respect your position, but I will continue to put messages in here on matters which I think are significant and for which I think Simon needs to be accountable or needs accountability for the difficulty he is causing me. I would hope that you, as his parents, would be concerned that he is making the decisions that are in the best interests of his children and not just operating from a place of being angry with me. To that end, I will relay here further communications about the children's schooling, as that is a very big issue. She says, I've had a number of conversations with the school and Centrelink and the Child Support Agency and would like to report back. Simon seems to be under the misapprehension that a child support assessment covers every expense for the children under the sun, and that's just not the case. It covers basic care and basic schooling, including a public school education. And she goes on to say that if both parents want their kids to go to a private school, that they both have to pitch in for it and both have to pay. So I don't know. I don't know what would happen. I think that most likely, um, I think most likely it would come out of the house. So the house that they um, sort of had that application made on over the last couple of weeks, it would probably come out of the money, unless she's got other money to fix. So if they say it's like 200 grand per victim or something, if she can't come up with um $600,000 plus $200,000 for Ian, so $800,000 in restitution, they could sell the property to cover that amount. I mean, unless she can somehow come up with that money elsewhere. Rachel said trying to guilt his parents is so terrible, they just wanted to stay out of it. That's the message that I got throughout the trial, that they were supportive of Erin and Simon, but they just didn't want to get involved. They're just like, that's your problem. You deal with it. They're your children, they're your marriage or whatever. You guys deal with it. Like we're just grandparents. We just want to hang out, visit our children, visit our grandchildren. We're older. We don't want to deal with this crap. That's your relationship and stuff to deal with. Don't involve us. It's not our thing. So yeah. Julie Miller said, I've often wondered whether she thought Simon was going single because he might have wanted to find another woman and she got narcissistically injured. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me though, because throughout the trial we heard that it was Erin who constantly kicked Simon out of the house. Every time they broke up, it was Erin who broke up, like that she wanted them to not live together anymore. It was only later on when they sort of reconciled a couple of times that it was Simon who ended up leaving again and was saying, "I'm not putting up with your crap. I don't want to do this. I'm just going to go back to my home." So I don't know. Laura says, just when you think about how horrible Erin was, it was something else that is mine. Yeah, she's done there was a lot there. No, they shouldn't have to deal with it. They've raised their children. They're in their older stage of life. They don't want to get into, you know, child support and playing favorites, and they just want their kids and their, children by marriage to just sort it out. You guys deal with it. Be adults. Injuries officials confirmed for what? What did I miss? I know you'll have to tell me what I missed. What injuries? I definitely believe there was definitely coercion and control in the marriage, especially from Erin to Simon. I definitely think that Erin was often projecting what she what she kept saying that Simon was doing to her. That's what she was actually doing to Simon, and she was using it as a way of covering up her offending, and sort of like her behavior. And she would often tell people, "Oh, Simon's abusive towards me," and you know, so yeah. I'm glad they found the 13-year-old Missouri boy. That's good. Rachel said, "Oh, that's a good question. I wonder if the family borrowed money will be paying it to her." I don't know. Apparently, there still was money owed to Erin, um, for property that was bought. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how that works. Do you pay a murderer? Do you pay back a murderer, someone who's convicted of killing your mum and dad? So that's what it is. Would you pay back the person who killed your mum and dad for the money they lent you to buy your home? I would say no, unless there was a legal contract there where you couldn't get out of it. Let's see. Oh yeah, about the boy, I saw it. Gayla said, "I think so, as it's not free money." I'm not sure if a contract was ever drawn up though. I think it was just a handshake agreement between family. Dragon said Erin should have got a lawyer to sort out the finances, cheaper than seeking a criminal defense lawyer. Hey, if she'd got a family lawyer 5 years ago, we wouldn't be in a trial, right? Well, not now. We just finished the trial, but uh woman of steel said I'd make her take me to civil court. I Hate Morning says I would probably put it in a trust for the kids. I think that might be a smart way of dealing with it. If there was any money owed to Erin, that if you didn't want to pay it to Erin, you could at least put it in the trust for the children and say like that's how we're going to repay it. That's one way of doing it, because those kids didn't do anything. It's not their fault. I never want to hear of people harassing those two children ever. Like it's not their fault what their mum did, and they deserve a chance at a normal life, like as normal as it can be. They deserve a chance at it. Zen said, "My understanding is that there were contracts, but with no interest." I don't think we saw any evidence of actual contracts in court. I'd have to check my notes on it from the trial, but I think it was more like a handshake agreement. Is the way it was explained in court. It was more like just family lending money to family, and it was sort of like a handshake agreement. and sort of like, just pay me when you can. I don't think I heard anything about an actual contract signed. Hi, can you stop licking my hands, please? Dragon said one loan was paid back. Yeah, one loan has been paid back. Another one has been paid back to Erin. There's one outstanding or two outstanding. I'm not sure. I'd have to check. But there is money outstanding to, for that money. Gayla said Erin should have thought about the what if I get found guilty and put all her assets in a trust for her kids. Well, too late now because that property is now part of an order from the court. I know he's being weird. Hey, buddy, what's up? You purring? Yeah. Hey, what you doing? Yeah, I know. He's like, Dad, they taste good. Hey, buddy, what are you up to? You a big sook? He's a big sook. I don't know why he's being a big sook today. I don't know. He never sleeps on Dad's lap, do you? Hmm? Hey? Don't know. He's just sitting on my lap. All right. So there's some there that's redacted. Yeah, here. So the parents say here, I encourage you both to look for solutions, not problems, accusations. So love Don and Gail. I think that says it all, right? I encourage you both to look for solutions, not problems/accusations. I think that's a good way of looking at it. See, they just didn't want to be a part of it. Dragon said instead of a bank interest rate, the loan was indexed to the CPI, cheaper than a bank loan. They could pay back when they wanted. That was the evidence, right? Answer the question. What question? What question did you ask? Oh, here. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to answer your question, unfortunately, but I understand what you're saying. That there's a lot of evilness in the world. Dragon said instead of I'll look up the court documents again and I'll double check. Marilyn says didn't want to meddle in their marriage. Yep, that's what it seems. See, they try some very good things here. If your discussions break down, please try to arrange for further discussions when tensions are reduced. And they say, I think there were a couple other points, but I'll finish here. Quite despondent for you both and for the children. If we can be of any help in facilitating peacemaking, please let us know. Love, Don and Gail. And they say here, Hi, Erin. I hope you're feeling better today. I have read your message of last night. As we said yesterday, we are unable to adjudicate on these matters. Apart from signaling his disagreement with what you said in your message, we have still not heard any detail of his side and don't need to because we cannot contribute anything useful along those lines. Where we might be able to contribute is encouraging you both to reopen communications and make some small steps in reconciliation. They sound like good parents. They sound like good parents, right? They don't want to be involved. They don't want to adjudicate. They have adult children. Erin is an adult, 50 years old. 50 years old. She's a grown woman. Simon is a grown guy, grown dude. Doesn't need his parents fighting his battles for him. The parents are saying, you two sort it out between yourselves. Stop being little children and you guys deal with your own financial relationship, whatever issues, and deal with it as adults. And they're like, we're going to peace out of here. We don't want anything to do with it. You guys, you guys deal with it. So, yeah, I think like I said, the shining thing I saw throughout the trial was how much Don and Gail actually did treat her as a member of the family and were super kind to her, and that they did nothing to deserve what happened to them, nothing at all, ever. Not that anyone deserves to be murdered, but there was nothing there that, you know, that would want that retaliation for that. They just treated her like a part of the family and did their very best. You can see from this message, they're just like, everyone needs to calm down, you know, try and try and find common ground, and try again later when you're not so angry. They did their best. Yep, that shows you her evil offending. Winter Steel said then Erin struck at them, and they would have struck at and would have struck at Simon too. I think she was hoping to kill all of them in one go. So if Simon had gone to the lunch, she would have killed Simon, his parents, and his auntie and uncle, and the only one left would have been her and her children. And she would have inherited probably a lot of things from Simon's side, being that they were still sort of legally married. So she would have got rid of the problem, which was his parents, Simon, and his auntie and uncle, who were obviously, in her mind, on Simon's side. Gail said, my ex Mill mother in law was told we were separating, and I never heard from her or any of the family again. They also didn't talk to the kids. And you see it here that these parents know about separation, and they're still treating Erin like a member of the family. I think that's more than most people would do if they heard their son was divorcing the wife. I think they're being more than gracious, is what I'm trying to say. Right. So yeah. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why he let his parents go that day. I'm not sure. I guess he maybe thought that she wouldn't hurt them. I don't know. You'd have to ask Simon. And in his testimony, I don't think he was ever asked that question, even though I'd love to know the answer. I don't know. I don't have an answer for it. Because if he had speculation that Erin had tried to poison him in the past, why would he let his parents go to eat her food? Yeah, it's a question I don't know if we'll ever get an answer to. I don't know. Julie Miller said no one left to coerce her into keeping the kids in religious education. Yep. Zen said Erin has destroyed so many lives. What evil she must have in her heart. Well, she'll get to serve that evil in a jail cell, possibly for the next 25 to life. So we'll see at sentencing. That is true, Mr. Video Reel. Yeah, possibly. Possibly. That's the only thing I can think of, is that Simon thought she wouldn't hurt like older people. Like, yeah, I guess it sounds far-fetched. Maybe we'll find that out at some point. You guys might be right. All right, hold on. All right. Zen said, "Hey Ping, is it true that Simon told his dad that he thought Erin was trying to poison him?" It never got brought up in the trial. Um, I have heard that. I heard that from a source that wasn't at. It had nothing to do with the trial, and it had nothing to do with any of the evidence at the trial. But I heard this from a source, yes, a while ago, that he had expressed to people that I don't know if he thought that Erin was trying to poison him or that. Well, I guess that's the only way you can look at it. Yeah, that Erin was trying to hurt him. Yes, I did hear this. I don't know. I don't know Simon. I've never spoken to him. I don't want to speak on his behalf. Just that that's what a I heard that from a source as well. That was something that happened. Jonna said it seemed like Simon didn't go because he didn't want drama. I doubt he ever imagined she would do what she did. I don't know. He was in hospital the year before with a mysterious illness that even doctors couldn't quite figure out what was wrong with him. And I don't know. I don't know. Don't know. I wish we had heard more about that at the trial. But unfortunately, when those charges were dropped, we were just never going to hear about it. So I don't know if we ever will. I don't know what'll happen with that. I hope we do hear more about it at some point. All right. Okay. Dragon says it was reported in the Daily Mail UK. Article not accessible in Oz. Was that during the trial? That has happened, unfortunately. I know what that is from. I know what this is from, and I can't comment on it. Sorry. I know what you're referring to, and I know where it comes from, but I'm not able to comment on it. Yeah, sorry. Now I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I'm not allowed to comment on it. Jonna said I didn't know that he was ill in the hospital. Yeah, so I don't think we're ever going to hear very much about it at all. Zen said, "I think Simon thought he was the only target, so never believed he would harm she would harm his relatives. Maybe I don't know. I'd like to know more about that aspect of it, but it's not in any of the hundreds of bits of evidence, and any of my notes. Unfortunately, I just want to see if there's anything else we've missed. I think we've gone through like the majority of the stuff that you guys would want to see. Like, there's a few other things. I'll show it to you, but I don't like. There's stuff like this. Like, it doesn't really mean a lot. This is just a table. It's to show you the correct times on the CCTV. Because some of the times on the different videos that we watched were not correct, so they had to be adjusted so you could kind of figure out what the times were actually supposed to be. Like the Lee and Gather one in the hospital, the timestamp said 9:54 a.m., but the correct time was 8:12 a.m. And then 9:55 it was actually 8:13, and 9:56 but it was actually 8:14. So yeah, there's a few things like that. I don't think it's fully worth going through. I don't think it adds anything for you guys. It was more for the jury so they could follow the CCTV. Let's see. Clinical report. Yeah, I think that's about it, guys. If there's anything that you think I've missed and you really, really must see, we might do one more of these at some point, but I've got some other cases I want to work on over the next couple of weeks. And when we get closer to sentencing, we may do more and more and more again about Erin. But it'd be nice to do some other cases for a few weeks. So let's see. All right. I think we're going to wind up for the night. I hope that I've shown you more than you could ever know about the trial, about Erin, about what happened in those 11 weeks at the trial. I hope I've given you the biggest inside look that I mean that I could have. But you guys have seen the majority of it now. Like I said, there's a couple things, weird stuff like that. I'll show you this one. There's one more. Map for Outram. Like this. This is just a map, and what it's showing is, I think it shows Outram, and these. So what you're seeing here, these are cell phone towers, and these are the sectors on the cell phone towers. But that's all it's really showing. It doesn't really add anything else. It's just showing the different cell phone towers near Outram. It's not going to really add a lot to you. You are most welcome, Dragon. I appreciate it. I will. I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow night we'll do a different. I'd like to get back to doing some American true crime because we haven't done any in ages, and I've sort of missed it. And there's been so many cases that have happened and updates for things that we haven't been able to get to. So I'd like to do that tomorrow night and do some more American true crime. Just let me double check here. And I am looking for a new trial in Victoria, but so far I haven't seen. There was one that we liked, and then we checked into it, and we can't do it. There was one we were going to go to last week, but it ended early. That was the Lachlan Young and Hannah Maguire. That one ended very, very early. And then there was that one this week, but unfortunately, the complexities surrounding the trial are just too great for me to do it. And but tomorrow's Friday for you guys. That means it's TGIF. So we're just gonna come on. I'm gonna hang out for a couple of hours, and we're just gonna talk true crime. That's what we're gonna do. I'm just gonna pick random cases from America, and we're just gonna check them out like we used to. So that's what we're gonna do tomorrow night at midnight Eastern. I will see you then. That's it for Erin Patterson for a while. That's it. I need a break from Erin for just a little while. And then we'll be back at sentencing for Erin Patterson later this year. I believe it'll be something like September, October, November, something like that. And then we will talk more Erin Patterson at the time. I love you all. Thank you for supporting my channel. I'm Ping. This is Nights with Ping. And we've spent the last almost 3.5 months at almost 4 months now at the Erin Patterson trial, and we've done hundreds of videos on it over that period of time. So this is probably the final one for now. Good night, everyone. See you later. Bye.